I know exactly what it feels like when a woman starts to pull away, that sensation that something is cracking inside you, that you're gradually losing ground, that your value seems to diminish in her eyes. She distances herself, you take the hit right to the heart, and then surges this irresistible urge to catch up with her, to demand explanations, to try everything to win her back before it's too late. It's deeply human, it's instinctive, it's what most men would do in that situation, but it's not what a man who truly respects himself chooses to do, and that's precisely where your profound transformation begins. Welcome to relationship psychology. You might not see it yet today, but her distancing isn't a defeat for you. It's a real opportunity. When a woman pulls away, she's not signing your end. On the contrary, she's marking your true starting point, the beginning of the man you're becoming, the exact moment when you reclaim your power, your position, and your dignity. She expects you to react. She thinks she'll see you crack. She imagines you'll come back to her like in the past. But this video is for the man who awakens, for the one who understands a truth that completely shifts the dynamic. What brings a woman back isn't your persistence, it's your absence. And this reality, even if it seems hard to accept right now, will become your greatest strength. Because the woman who pulls away, hoping for your pursuit, is completely destabilized when she encounters silence. The one who expects your despair finds herself shaken by your calm. The one who bet on your inability to let go gets lost when she discovers you can. That's why I'm speaking directly to you now. If a woman has pulled away and you've chosen not to lower yourself, give this video a like, subscribe, and turn on the bell. Because here on Relationship Psychology, we don't talk about begging for love. And leave me just one word in the comments, undefeated. Because that's exactly what you are when you decide to stand firm, even when everything inside you screams to run after her. The law of upward attraction. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to reveal is one of the most powerful truths a man can internalize about women. A truth that transforms your life when you truly understand it and spares you years of pain when you apply it. A woman doesn't feel attraction for what she perceives as inferior, nor even for what she sees as equal. A woman is always drawn upward, toward what she admires, toward what she respects, toward what she considers precious, solid, unshakable, toward the man who didn't waver when she walked away. But when you chase her, when you try to convince her, when you emotionally collapse in front of her, when you give her more attention than she gives you, in that precise moment, you lower your position. Without realizing it, you place yourself beneath her. And from that low position, no woman looks at you with desire. That's why she distanced herself even more. Not because you were worthless, not because she felt nothing, but because you unintentionally showed her a version of yourself she couldn't admire. But here's what gives you all the power back. When you raise your level, she automatically changes direction. When you stand at your true height, she stops looking elsewhere. When you rebuild yourself, she starts remembering who you really were. And when you become emotionally independent, that's when she looks upward and realizes you've always been far more than she imagined. Masculine attraction doesn't come from need. It comes from calm, from stability, from inner strength, from the ability to lose without crumbling, from the ability to step back with dignity when she leaves. That's where the power shifts sides. That's where she starts to doubt. That's where the distance stops being final and turns into renewed interest. Because a woman doesn't come back to a man she feels is beneath her, but she can't resist coming back to a man she now has to look up to. And you, are you ready to become that man? Withdrawing your attention as a declaration of value. Listen closely, because this is one of the most effective keys to making a woman who has distanced herself come back on her own. Withdrawing your attention isn't punishment. It's a clear affirmation of your own worth. When a woman starts pulling away, the masculine instinct, the wound, the fear, the anxiety often push you to get even closer, to seek her out, to explain yourself, to try to hold on to what's slipping away. But what you don't realize is that this impulse is exactly what destroys your attractiveness. Because by approaching when she's pulling back, you're sending the emotional message that she has more value than you, that she holds the control, that she sets the pace, that you're acting out of need rather than choice. And without noticing, you fall into the most common mistake, placing your attention where there's no reciprocity. Now listen to what I'm about to say, because it changes the entire game. When a woman lowers her emotional investment, you must lower yours too. Not out of pride, not out of revenge, but because your attention is a privilege, not a given. And when you withdraw it calmly, without drama, without blame, without explanation, she feels something she didn't expect. Loss. The loss of your energy, the loss of your messages, the loss of your presence, the loss of your unconditional support. The loss of a man who was there and no longer is. Withdrawing your attention does something nothing else can. It puts you back on her level, neither above nor below, but at your own level. That's the level where she can see you again as a man, not as a safe option. Because when a woman notices she can no longer access you as easily as before, when she discovers your world hasn't collapsed without her, when she senses your energy is focused on yourself and not on her absence, a powerful emotion activates in her. Doubt. What if I no longer matter to him? What if he forgets me? What if another woman takes my place? What if I'm the one who really needs to fight? This doubt is what reverses her withdrawal. This doubt is what makes her come back. This doubt is what gives you back the power she thought she had secured. Because a woman doesn't miss the man who stays around. She misses the man who stops being around, yet doesn't lose his balance. Withdrawing your attention doesn't push her away. It awakens her. There is an exact moment when the dynamic shifts, a moment that many women will never admit, but that all experience inwardly. That instant occurs when you, without drama, without complaint, without explanation, fade a little from her life, when your attention is no longer available, when the energy you gave unconditionally returns to you. And right there, even if she'll never admit it, something breaks inside her. First comes a slight unease, almost imperceptible, a feeling of, that's weird. He doesn't talk to me as much anymore. She tries to ignore it. She tells herself she doesn't care, but it matters far more than you imagine. Then comes the second stage, worry. Worry that appears when she sees you're not reacting as expected. She thought your silence would be short, that you'd come back, that you'd give in, but you don't return, you don't crack, you don't chase. And that starts to shake her emotional ground. Then comes what truly destabilizes her. Doubt. Why is he so calm? Why doesn't he insist? Do I no longer matter to him? Has he found someone better? Is he moving on? Doubt is the emotional earthquake they don't know how to handle. Doubt is what makes them lose control. Doubt is what reawakens emotions she thought were gone. Because when you withdraw your attention, she doesn't feel freedom. She feels loss. A loss she didn't expect. A loss she hadn't calculated. A loss that threatens her pride and emotional security. And here's the most powerful part. She starts missing you not for what you were, but for what you've stopped giving her. Your presence misses her. Your validation misses her. Your interest misses her. The version of herself you managed to awaken misses her. Feeling important to you misses her. The feminine mind works this way. She doesn't regret the man who stays. She regrets the man who knows how to leave without destroying himself. And you've done it. You've withdrawn your attention like a man who values himself, not like a man who begs. And that's exactly what starts bringing her back to you. But be careful, this is only the beginning. Listen to this calmly, because this is where everything starts to make sense for you. When a woman pulls away and you stay firm without chasing, without begging, without trying to get her back, when you choose to respect yourself more than to insist, an emotion emerges in her that no woman openly acknowledges, but everyone feels. The real fear of losing you. Not the fear of being alone. Not the fear of lacking options. Not the fear of making a mistake. But the fear of losing precisely the man who doesn't chase her. First it was unease, then worry, then doubt. But now comes the strongest emotional cost. The possibility that you move forward without her. That hurts them more than any argument, any block, any imposed silence. Because for the first time, she understands that your world doesn't revolve around her presence. And for many women, that's an emotional earthquake. What they'll never admit is that most live with the certainty that the man will stay, even if she treats him coldly. She believes that you, out of affection, habit, or fear of losing her, will remain available. But when you break that expectation, when you disappear with dignity, when you show that your life goes on, they feel an emotion they can't control. The threat of replacement. And I'm not necessarily talking about another woman. I'm talking about emotional replacement. The idea that you can fill your life on your own, that you can rebuild yourself, that you can be happy without her, that you can grow while she pulls away. This possibility disarms her. It breaks her narrative. It cuts her control. Because when you keep moving forward without sinking, when you raise your level instead of groveling at her feet, she starts asking herself a question no woman wants to ask. What if he was really the one worth it? That thought is devastating to her ego. That thought marks the turning point. That thought makes her start seeing your absence as loss, not liberation. There's nothing more powerful than a man who proves through actions that he doesn't need to hold on to anyone to stay standing. That man becomes a mystery. That man becomes attractive. That man becomes unforgettable. And you're exactly on that path. There comes a point where this woman who seems so sure, so indifferent, so distant, starts to crack from the inside. You won't see it right away. She'll never admit it. But you'll sense a change, a subtle shift, because she's no longer at peace with your silence. When the fear of losing you becomes too heavy, she starts doing something she didn't think she would. She turns her attention back to you, but not directly, not clearly. She does it with small, indirect signals that seem innocent but reveal exactly what's happening inside her. The first signal is disguised curiosity. She might view your stories. She might like something you posted. She might ask about you through a mutual friend. It's all hidden, without exposing herself, from the shadows. But that's where her attention returns to the place she thought she'd moved past. The second signal is the test. She sends an ambiguous message, a minimal reaction, a small gesture just to check if you're still available, if you're still waiting, if she can still regain the emotional control she lost when you chose to respect yourself. It's not that you miss her a little. It's that she needs to know if you still belong to her world. The third signal is the internal conflict she can't hide. She starts comparing herself to other women. She starts imagining you moving on. She starts seeing you as stronger, more centered, more valuable than before. And that contrast destabilizes her because the version of you she sees now is far more attractive than the one she had when you were still available. Then comes the most telling signal, silent frustration. She doesn't understand why you don't react. She doesn't understand why you're so calm. She doesn't understand why it seems you no longer need her. And though she wouldn't admit it even under torture, this frustration stems from a thought that's tormenting her. I think I'm losing him for good. When a woman enters this emotional state, everything changes. Because she no longer thinks from power, she thinks from fear. She no longer acts from security, she acts from loss. She no longer observes you from above. She observes you from the possibility of not getting you back. And here's the most important part for you. When she's at this point, you absolutely don't need to do anything. Your growth, your silence, your self-control have done the work for you. She's returning inwardly long before taking an outward step. You're getting closer and closer to fully reclaiming your power. This point is critical. Many men make it this far. They manage to make her feel the loss, the doubt, the worry. But right when she starts coming back, they collapse. And they do it because they mistake her first move for a real return. But you won't make that mistake, because this is where the ordinary man separates from the man who truly reclaims his power. When you notice the signals, her views on your stories, her lukewarm messages, those subtle attempts to see what you're up to, you must not interpret them as, "come get me." What it really means is, I need to check if I haven't lost you completely. And that's where you have to act with emotional precision. First, stay calm. Don't get excited. Don't celebrate inwardly. Don't change your energy. Your strength lies in the fact that she doesn't know what you're thinking. Your attractiveness comes from the mystery you created by withdrawing, and you can't break that mystery now. Second, respond with serenity, not overflowing enthusiasm. If she sends a neutral message, reply in the same way. Brief, correct, calm. No need to show neediness. No need to show hope. You just need to convey one simple thing. I'm good, with or without you. That doesn't push her away. It makes her fall for you again. Third, don't rush to see her, even if she gives signs of wanting closeness. The man who jumps immediately loses the value he worked so hard to regain. She needs to feel that your world has its own rhythm, that your life isn't on hold waiting for her return, that you're a man with direction, purpose, and control. And when you hold your center, the inevitable happens. She increases her emotional investment. Because masculine attractiveness isn't about doing more. It's about showing you don't need to do anything. Fourth, remember this like a law of masculine value. If she feels she can get you back easily, she won't value you. If she feels she might lose you, she makes efforts. And right now, you're at the point where she starts making efforts. Don't ruin it by being impulsive. Don't immediately give back the security your silence took from her. Fifth, be kind but not devoted. Be cordial but not overly available. Be attentive but not needy. The idea is simple. You need to be a man she wants to get closer to, not one she can control. Your progress so far has been huge. You've changed the dynamic, reclaimed your value, awakened emotions in her she didn't expect to feel. I'm telling you something very few understand. When a woman comes back, she wants to find you better than how she left you, not the same. Because if she finds you the same as before, her regret fades. If she finds you stronger, more centered, more confident, then she feels something very hard to provoke again. Admiration. And a woman can be with someone without loving them, can be with someone without desiring them, but she'll never stay with someone she doesn't admire. That's why when she writes to you, when she reaches out, when she opens a door, your mission isn't to please her. Your mission is to confirm her new perception that you're now a man who doesn't break, who doesn't despair, who doesn't collapse, and who has fully regained control of his life. This is the moment when she'll understand without being told that this time, if she wants something with you, she'll have to make efforts. And you'll know it twice over. You've reached the point very few men do. The moment when she can no longer deny what she feels. She can no longer maintain the distance. She can no longer pretend you don't matter to her. The moment when she reaches out, writes to you, opens conversations, and finally wants to talk clearly. Here many men crumble. Here many throw away all the emotional work done with their silence. Here many immediately hand back the power they had regained. And that's why you won't do it. When a woman who distanced herself now wants to come back, the first thing you must understand is this. She doesn't come back out of pity or habit. She comes back because your absence revealed your value. You're not the same man she left behind. You're the man who survived her distance without collapsing, the one who chose his dignity over his fear, the one who rebuilt himself in silence, the one she now looks at with respect and desire. But listen, just because she wants to come back doesn't mean she should come back into your life unconditionally. Here, you decide, you speak, you set the rules for any reunion, not out of pride, but out of clarity and inner strength. When she asks to talk, when she says she misses you, when she admits she regrets it, your response must be serene, firm, masculine. We can talk, but things won't be like before. That sentence changes everything. It makes her understand clearly that you've grown, that you're not desperate, that your door isn't wide open, and that if she wants to enter, she'll do it with respect and real intention. Then, when she asks what you want, don't say, I want to get back with you. Say something infinitely more powerful. I want peace. I want stability. I want reciprocity. And if you can give that, we'll see what happens. That confronts her with her own behavior. It forces her to look at herself. It makes her understand something she never thought she'd hear from you, that you no longer need her, that you choose, that you decide. And that's when she commits emotionally, because nothing attracts a woman more than a man who has learned to live without her and yet looks at her calmly and decides whether to let her back in. Here ends your path as a man who reacts and begins your path as a man who chooses. And before ending this video, remember, if you've ever managed to stay silent when your heart wanted to scream, if you've ever chosen your value over your fear, if you've ever decided to walk away from someone who didn't value you, give this video a like because that means you've done the hardest thing a man can do. Subscribe and turn on the bell because here on Relationship Psychology, we don't just talk about relationships, we talk about awakening your strength, your clarity, and your masculine identity. Here, we build men who don't chase, men who become the prize. And leave me just one word in the comments, undefeated.